Welcome back to the channel, everyone. If it's your first time here, my name is Jason. I'm hanging out with Trenton behind the camera. Today we're going to be taking a look at some white-handled knives. We've got a bunch of them to look at, so let's get into it. Alright, so we have 7 different EDC options that we're going to be taking a look at, all different manufacturers. One thing I was discussing with Trenton is that over the last, I don't know how many months, I've noticed that as I've been buying more and more inventory for our store, I have been purchasing more and more white-handled knives. So we wanted to share those with you. This first one we're going to look at is from KIZER. Some of you may have already seen this knife before. This is one in my collection. It is one that I've carried. You can even see, if I can get a shot of that for you, you can even see on the blade there on the tip that I've got some tape on it. I have used this to process some boxes at work. But what really drew me to this knife was the PlayStation buttons that are milled there in the scales. So it's got the black, I believe it's a G10 overlay, and with the white underneath, and it's just gives a really nice contrast. It was the handle scales that drew me to this knife. It was not the blade shape. Not a huge fan of that, but it is a button lock. Does have multiple opening blade deployment options for you. It's got the cutout in the blade. It's got these dual flippers, whether you're front flipper, rear flipper. It is a reversible pocket clip, so it's tip up only, right or left hand. You can see that there, if I can get a shot of it in there, it does not have the delete plate on it, but it's recessed, so it's not a huge deal breaker. Through construction on this one with the barrel standoffs back there. Got a couple of those barrel standoffs back there, but overall just a fun fidgety knife with that button lock. And we will put all of the description, the models, all of that on the screen for you guys. And then for all of you that are watching on a platform where you can get into the description of the video, we'll leave you links. You guys can jump over there and check out these knives in greater detail. We don't have any online purchasing. We just leave links to other vendors. You guys can check them out. We don't get anything from that. If you're local to the Corpus Christi area, we're just out of Corpus Christi in Portland, Texas. You can stop by the store, check out any of our knives, and they're open from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. So we'll put all that information there for you as well. This next one we're going to look at is another button lock, and this one is from VOSTEED. And this is another great button lock option. I don't know if the camera is going to pick it up or not, but it does have a blue tint to it. It has picked up some of the dye from blue jeans. Trent has worn this one, and so I haven't noticed it on any of the other knives that we have, but this one did pick up some of the blue dye from jeans. So this might be a good option for you guys that like to do custom work. If you want to dye the scales, this one might pick up that dye really well. But button lock, as I said, does have the front and rear flipper on this one as well. Works really nice. This one does have the delete. This one does have the delete plate on it, which is nice. And so you can see that it is left or right carry, tip up only. Through design, for the most part, does have that rear back spacer with the post there for the lanyard, if you want to run a lanyard through there. One thing that I did notice about this knife is that the handle, you can feel it does have a bit of some weight to it in the handle compared to the knife itself. Not a huge amount of stock there on the knife. So the blade itself is rather light in comparison to the handle, but still operates really well. Now this next one that we're going to take a look at is from BESTECHMAN, and this is a favorite of mine, and This is the highest selling knife at our store. We have multiple models of this. Obviously, this is the white handle version, but there's three different versions. Yeah, three different versions of this model. There's this one where it has the white with the satin blade, but it also has this grayish black coating in the fuller, here in the jimping, and then also on the flipper tab, which is nice. This is a version that I like the best. Gives a nice contrast on the knife itself. If I didn't mention already, on this one it is a liner lock. The other versions are that grayish black, completely coated on the blade, and then just a full satin where there's no coating at all. Just this is a phenomenal knife. The action on it is amazing. You've got that flipper tab there for the main deployment. I don't know, it does have that fuller that's right in there. I guess if you have small enough fingers, you might be able to use that to reverse flick. I can kind of get in there and do it, but it's not very strong. It is left or right carry, tip up only. Again, right here, no delete plate for the pocket clip, but it's recessed nice and smooth, so nothing's going to catch there. Just a basic design on your deep carry pocket clip there. But overall, just a fantastic looking knife, and the action of this knife is phenomenal. Now, this next one we're going to look at is by KANSEPT, and this is substantially larger knife. You can see that there on the blade. Quite a bit thicker on the blade stock as well. Now, overall, what drew me to this knife was just the aesthetics of the knife overall, just how it looks. I like how the handle shape, how it flows into the knife itself, the blade, I should say, and then the actual design of the blade. And I think there was some actual thought that went into this knife with that, like sheep's foot, like Warncliffe style blade, with that tip being super short, or I should say pointy. You've got some spots up here with the jimping in some really great places, so that you can really choke up on the knife and really get some really up close and really get into some precise cuts with that, and your finger's going to feel super secure anywhere that you put it on the edge of that knife there. So overall, just a fantastic, another fantastic option. I use the hole in the blade as the deployment style, which works really well. There is that front flipper there. I have used this on the hem of my jeans, like on the side of my leg, and if you can grab that, it will flick that open as well. I'm not a huge front flipper guy, but maybe some of you guys can use that, and I could see that working for you. Now this one, as you can see, it does have a deep carry pocket clip. These screws are not recessed in there, but I have worn this, haven't had any issues with that, and it's only right hand carry, so there's no option for you guys, unfortunately, for left hand carry. For the most part, this one is another through construction, but it does have that black back spacer there, as you can see. But fantastic EDC option, especially for making precise cuts or processing boxes and stuff like that. I think this would work really well. Now this next one's going to be from CIVIVI, and same kind of blade design on this one, but substantially smaller. This is one of the smaller knives on the table as it comes to the handle, and one thing about this knife that really doesn't work for me is the handle shape, and I'll get into that for a second, but I really like everything about this knife. It is a liner lock, another through construction on that one. I like the color of that lime up against the ivory handles. Does have the matching back spacer there. deep carry pocket clip. It is reversible. There's no millings out, so it sits flush on the scale there. I like the design in the blade. I like this fuller cutout design here. One thing that Trenton did point out to me is that for any of you guys that have this knife or looking to possibly purchase one of these, we notice that this little cutout here is pretty sharp, so it's something you might want to take in consideration. It gets very thin where that fuller meets up here to the top of the blade. Super aggressive, super aggressive jimping up here on the top. I could see that working with maybe with gloves or something, but it's a little too aggressive if you're really going to be bearing down on the blade and have your finger there. Looks like this one has a hollow grind on it, but the one thing that just really turned me off about this knife was the design here, how this ramps up. When I put my hand to try to grab, this ramp forces the knife back. So it actually pushes the knife forward. So when I try to get a really good grip on this, you can see that this back part of the knife where it narrows right here, it almost feels like these last two fingers are falling off the handle. So if you've got larger hands like myself, I wear a extra large glove, that may be a problem with this knife, because I would consider this to be more of a medium sized knife. But other than that, really, that was the only thing. I mean, it is manageable, it is doable, but it's just not 100% as comfortable as I would have liked it to be in hand. Now, this next one we're going to look at is from QSP, and this is a medium-sized knife, but this thing is phenomenal. The shape of the handle is really great. You can see it's got a little bit of a drop down right here. It kind of comes up, but then it drops back down, but then it gets a little bit wider back here in the back, and I think that's great for smaller sized knives. You can see how it drops down here, because if you've got a larger hand, that's going to allow those other fingers, back here, to really still have something to grab onto, and this feels way more comfortable in the hand than the CIVIVI knife. But liner lock, as you can see, it's got holes milled out in the G10 all the way through the actual liners, and it is deep carry pocket clip, left or right carry, tip up only, but it does have that delete plate there. Now the screws are not nested down into it, but it's smooth enough that it doesn't feel like it's going to catch on anything, so that seems like it's going to work just fine. Does have the thumb studs as the only blade deployment, and they got it right on this one. I mean, that thing just fires open. It's super snappy knife. I like this design on the blade. Drop point, spear point, whatever you want to call it, full flat grind. Just an overall, just a really good looking knife. Trenton, you have one of these in your collection, right?
It also takes on the pants really.
So it does pull some of. So he has noticed that this G10 has pulled some of the color as well. So yeah, something to think about as well, guys. That and also now that we're thinking about it, for those of you that might know of a specific way to keep that from happening on the is there a certain product that you use that will remove that from the scales? Or for those of you guys that like to do a lot of custom work and you actually dye the scales, maybe leave us your thoughts down in the comments, and then everybody can kind of check it out and get a better idea on what all these white scales are all about. But as far as this one is an excellent EDC option, and it's another favorite here on the table. Now, this last one we're going to look at is from KUBEY Knives, and I believe this is their mini model of this karambit. And as you can see, super radical design, as most karambits are. And for the size of this knife, with it being a mini, I think the ergonomics on this knife are perfect. I mean, like I said, I've got large size hands, and everything feels really good in the hand. I don't feel any hot spots. This ring is extremely comfortable, and both this regular grip, or if you do like this reverse grip on it, very comfortable. It's got nice jimping all along the spine of the knife here, all the way around that ring. Everything's just super comfortable. It is left or right carry, and it does have the delete plate there. Get a shot of that, and so it's a good looking knife, very finished with that plate on there. Standard opening options. So you've got your flipper there. You do have a cutout in the blade that you can use. It's a little narrow. You can see it's not very big, but it does work. It's just you got to make sure you get your finger on there in just the right position. And then obviously you do have the quick opening deployment. When you pull that out of your pocket, you can grab the hem of your pocket there. I'm assuming that this is for front flipping. I don't know exactly how that's supposed to work with one hand. I'm not a front flipper guy, but maybe that's a way to deploy the blade as well. But yeah, this is another excellent for you ceramic guys out there. This is the first one that I have in my collection. But for those of you out there that like the ceramics, this might be a really good option for you. I could see this working very well for some everyday tasks, like whether you're processing boxes, you're cutting cordage. I can see that cut, that shape on the blade is going to really allow itself to dig into those cuts and let you stay on that cutting task. So like I said, boxes or cordage or anything like this might really be a really good option. So those are the 7 white handled knives that we have for all of you today. I really appreciate all of you guys hanging out to the end of the video. If it is your first time here and you enjoy the content, we'd really appreciate it if you would check out some of our other content. We will leave some of our other videos linked at the end of this video. You can jump over there, check that out. I do want to say thank you to all of our subscribers. We are over 500 subscribers now, and really appreciate each and every one of you. So thanks for watching. I guess this is pretty much going to wrap it up. So until the next one, guys, thanks for watching.